Call this beat Will Smith, cause it slaps hard. Hear it not when I pull up on your boulevard. I'm gonna go over the 7 ways that you can market yourself to women better. The first thing you need to do to start better marketing yourself to women is to really study the market, all right? You need to start tapping into what it is that the women that you want in a man. And I know guys have been asking for years, oh my God, what do women want? We can't figure it out. Guys, women are really actually easy to figure out. They might want a few more things than us, but they're generally the same thing across the board, and they become easier to understand as you start to really do research, right? So you got to study the market. What do the women that you want in a man? And for one thing, you need to know the things that women want to feel from the men that they're dating. So examples of that would be masculine strength. Women want to feel your masculine presence, your masculine energy. They understand that you're stronger than them. They want to feel that strength. They want to be able to see it displayed. That's an example of something that women want to be able to see from you. Also calm. They are going to have storms in their head all the time and be nervous about things and apprehensive. And they're looking for the guy that they're with to be that steady rock, which means you got to be calm. So even in the midst of her having drama, she wants to be able to look to you to see that everything's okay, or that if maybe she is in fact tripping and that things aren't as bad as she's making it out in her head. She's looking for your guidance and leadership. This is why women don't typically like to date guys that seem anxious or nervous, because even though it doesn't look like it to you, on the inside of her, trust me, most women on average are typically anxious, nervous, not too sure of themselves about things. Even boss babes that have to make decisions all day go home, and if you see them and see that they're married, and you can talk to their spouse and be like, oh yeah, she came home and had this thing at her job she had to figure out, and we went through a whole conversation about what she was worried about and her concerns and blah, blah, blah. Like, that is a consistent thing. Even almost the most confident women will still have a lot of anxieties or nervousness that they're looking for you to be able to, they're looking to be able to go to you to get that calm when they're all nervous about stuff, you know? So even though they're looking for you to be calm, they're also looking for you to be adventurous. Because I don't think that you need to be a guy that's causing drama to make her feel highs and lows. You being an adventurous guy where you're taking her on trips and you're taking her paragliding and you're taking her zip lining and you're doing new exciting things that she's not too sure about at first, but you're walking her through it. Those are also ways to positively give her a roller coaster of emotions. So she looks for guys that are adventurous. Women are looking to feel desired by their partner. I think the problem a lot of nice guys have is they think, okay, I don't want to be talking about sex with her because God forbid she thinks I'm all about that. So I'm not talking about it at all. And you forget that part of women feeling sexy and confident is being with a partner that finds them sexy. And if you're not at all alluding to the fact that you might want to possibly do some things of a carnal nature with her outside of just this dating process, then yeah, believe it or not talking about those things can also be a way to lose women. And we don't want you to do that. And also, a woman wants to be able to feel respect for her emotions, because too many women have been in this situation where they'll go to the guy that they're dating and they'll mention some kind of emotion. Oh, I'm really excited about going to this Taylor Swift show. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I got this brand new makeup in the mail today. And the guy look at them like, you're excited about makeup? You're excited about Taylor Swift? Like, oh my God. And when women hear that from you, understand that now she cannot trust her emotions with you, because everything she's throwing at you, in your guy-centric head, you're thinking, this little girly stuff, why is she so excited? And it's because it's girly stuff, because she's trying to be feminine. You getting on her for trying to be feminine, I guarantee you that's not what women want to feel. Women want to feel celebrated for being feminine, and they don't want to be made to feel like they're being made to be silly. They also want a partner that can empathize with them. Like, even if you can't feel all the emotions she's having in her moments where she's maybe expressing disappointment or sadness, she wants you to at least be like, oh babe, hey, I understand, I've been there myself. Like, women want to feel that from their guy. So you as the guy have to know that women want to feel these things from you in order to then add them into your repertoire when you're going out there. That's just the first thing, right? So then the second thing that you need to do to better market yourself to women is to understand what actually drives a woman to make certain decisions, including decisions about her love life. So again, we go back to the underwear example, the seasonal underwear. It's not even about the underwear themselves. It's about the fact that underneath that, women want to feel stylish. They want to feel young, and being young means keeping up with current trends, which means keeping up with the brand new underwear. And it expresses also her need for change. In a woman's typical life cycle, there's going to be a lot of changes. She's going to go from a young girl to like growing all these kind of parts, to then having a period, to then growing people inside of her, to then starting to get old and age. And so women are constantly trying to prepare for the next season of their life and the next change that's coming. Her being with a guy that's not about those things or is going to make fun of her for it is not really tapping into the fact that part of what motivates her decisions is the fact that these things are coming and that she wants to experience these things, right? Another thing, oftentimes it's about wanting to also feel that she's not different from everybody else. We go back to the jeans example, which I'll pull up real quick again. If we go back to the jeans example, this woman over here on the right, the company that's advertising understands that she wants to also be able to feel like she's part of the skinny jeans conversation. So many women that I've seen before that are bigger women have expressed, oh my God, I wish I could wear skinny jeans. And a company caught on and said, you know what? We're going to make that happen. We're going to brand our style of jean as skinny jeans. And that's going to be the thing that draws in women. And you know what? It's working because those jeans are selling. So you have to understand that in terms of a woman's motivation for things, she's going to be wanting to, feel needed. She's going to want to, she's looking for making decisions based on how her life's going to change. She wants to be the same as everybody. And that also comes to her love life, because there are women out there right now that are single that are like, you know what? If any guy would just come along and just talk to me regular, I would choose him, because they're at the point in their life now where it's like, I'm going to make a decision based on the fact that I don't want to be alone anymore. And all my girlfriends that I used to hang out with are now starting to start families and have kids and get married. And that's not me. And so at that point, it's not about a woman necessarily like changing her standards, but she could be more realistic. She could start saying, man, if a guy would just come along and treat me well and do whatever, then I'd be happy to make that decision. Unfortunately, most guys come along and do the same old playbook. They're talking too much on dates. They're not respecting her boundaries. They're talking about sex a whole lot on those first few dates. They're overextending themselves by texting too much and calling too much and trying to ask for a relationship after 2 or 3 dates. And unfortunately, you doing all those things are not going to drive her to make those decisions, because another thing she has to do is trust you. Like, trust is the big factor in a woman deciding if she wants to be with you. And we think, well, if we go on 2 or 3 dates, that's enough time for her to see that she can trust me. Women need 2 to 3 months. And so her decision to date you is going to come at that time based on the evidence that she's seen from you in the prior 3 months. And based on that, be able to decide if she can in fact trust you. So if you're not giving her that time, then you're really cutting into a major part of her decision-making process. And that's not fair to her. The third way to start marketing yourself better to women, you need to become more indifferent to a lot of things. You need to become indifferent to whether or not she sees you or not. You need to become indifferent to how she feels when she expresses something to you that's emotional for her. Like, oh my God, you hurt my feelings the other day. Like, dudes hear that and get their feelings all hurt. Like, oh my God, I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. How dare you? I was trying to show up for you like this, blah, 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 blah. And it goes back to, that indicates that you take things too personally and you're not being indifferent. Now, some people assume when I say that, it means that I'm telling you not to care about anything. It is not that. What I'm actually trying to get you to do is to have an understanding that you letting all these things bother you isn't in the best interest for you or the relationship. Because think about this. Women want to be able to trust you enough to where they can come to you and say, hey, something you did bothered me the other day. I want to talk about it. And most dudes get into their ego and start saying, but I was doing the best I could, and I was attempting to do this when I showed up for you in this way. And how you were trying to show up and how she felt you showed up are going to be 2 different things. If you are butthurt every time a woman that you're dating comes to you and says you hurt her feelings or she wants to talk about something, then you're going to lose out. And so as the guy of the 2 of you, and to be fair, if women were more different to the things, that'd be absolutely great. But of the 2 of you, you need to learn to be more indifferent. Because here's another thing too. For the purposes of her being able to feel like she can self-express around you and be her true self around you, it behooves you to be indifferent. Women want to feel like they can open up to you and they can be their authentically true selves that they feel they have to mask for the rest of the world. And so for the first 2 months of dating, you might get like the prim and proper her, but at some point you're going to go over to her house and she's going to fart in front of your face by accident. And she's going to want to do that as a test to see like if he's going to freak out and react, or if he's going to like shame me for having a natural bodily function. In that moment, you have a decision to make. Do you react and be like, oh my God, you farted. That's such a masculine thing, blah, blah, blah. Or do you just be like, okay. The second reaction, that is indifference. That's you saying to her, I mean, hey, you're human. We all fart. it is what it is. She shows up one day and her hair got messed up at the hairstylist, but you guys have a date and she decided to keep the date, but now she's wearing like a wrap around her head. And later on you see her head and like it's half shaved. Are you going to freak out? Because if you do, that's not her being able to be her true self in that moment. And she's going to feel some kind of way about that and possibly pass on you. So in terms of marketing yourself to women, the more you're able to show that a lot of the things she's going to bring to the table that would be bothersome for other guys isn't going to bother you as much, or reactions she has to things are going to allow you to be indifferent, then that's going to let her know that you are now a safe space that she can go to, and it's going to actually make her more attracted to you. All right. Caveat, obviously, we don't want you being cool with things about her that are toxic. All right. Hopefully you can differentiate between that. Let's see. The fourth way to market yourself to women is to highlight your strengths. In those first 3 months of dating, this is your time to shine. This is your time as your representative to go out there and give women the best version of you, about the best versions of your story, where you're at in your journey in life, how your dating life's been going up to this point, the things that you're striving to be, the goals you have. You need to be giving her the best highlight reel, because in terms of marketing yourself, women want to know that you have good stuff going on in your life. Good, positive stuff is going to make her feel like you're a good, positive person. Negative stuff is going to make it feel like you're going to be quite the drag. Now, the problem that men have with this is we want to be all honest. We want to be honest with every single facet of our life from date one. We want to talk about that divorce we just went through and how our ex was a B word and how she took the kids. We want to talk about how our job is treating us horribly and we just are getting walked on all over at the job. Women are on dates to have fun. Women are dressing up and putting on makeup and smelling good and putting on sexy lingerie underneath their dress that you may or may not see. And they're doing all this because they want to have good vibes on this date. You want to come on there and be all honest and say, well, actually, my life's a crap show, but I hope you still want to date me. And if you're trying to market yourself in a positive way, then that means that you're going to put on the highlight reel. And hey, women are doing it too. Those first 2 to 3 months, you're going to get the best show from them. So recognize in those first 3 months, both of you guys are putting on a show. You're putting on the I'm trying to put my best foot forward show, which is actually needed. It's beneficial because there's going to be a point in the actual relationship where you guys are going to have a disagreement or an argument of some kind, and you both need to be able to reflect back to, but I know this person is generally like this. I had 3 months of them like this. I'm going to assume they're mostly like this. So you creating a positive first impression now is going to benefit you later as something she's going to go back to as that's the real him. We're just going through a tiff. We can eventually get back to that version. You guys that are trying to be all honest with your negativity early on, you can do that. You're not going to keep women. Again, I got a book called Stop Losing Women. You want to keep women around. You want to show your best self early on and recognize that she needs that in her psyche to always have a positive viewpoint of you to start from. All right. So do her a favor and do yourself a favor. Because honestly, guy, you probably want to point out all these negatives. You're probably great. You probably have a lot of good stuff going on in your life that even if you're not aware of it now, you need to get into the exercise of really looking at where you're at and then pulling out positives. I used to think back in the day, like, oh, I'm such a weird guy. Women want to date me because I don't have a car. I don't have a good job, blah, 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 right? At the point where I started saying, okay, great, let's just sit down. What positive things are there about you? Well, you're emotionally intelligent. You have a good personality. You know how to make people laugh. You're funny. You are creative. Like, I started just focusing more on those things. And then when I was on dates, I would just highlight those things. Oh, I'm a great drawer. I'm a great artist. I got artwork back in my place that I painted, like this picture back here. I painted that. Like, yeah, if you focus on the positives, you'll find you'll feel more buoyant and vibrant on these dates. The woman that you're with will feel more, have a positive outlook about you. And then lo and behold, you can get a girlfriend. Real talk, guys. The fifth thing you need to do in order to better market yourself to women is focus on your personal branding. Because I'll be honest, guy, we want to think we can go out there and get every single girl. And some of you Don Juans out there can, but not every girl is built for you. And so what that means is that you have to really know yourself well, know the things that you're into, know what kind of style you like, know what kind of music you like, know what drives you in life, and then really try to focus on women that are about that, because how you dress is important, how you smell is important, the stuff that you listen to and watch is important, and all those things create an aura of your personality. And some women are going to gel with your personality and some aren't. Even the ones that will give you like an early hookup, right? You might have women that might give you that early hookup, and then after 2 or 3 dates, they don't want to see you because they realized, oh, this guy, in terms of a long-term prospect, doesn't really actually gel with my sensibilities, even though he's for a fun time, but just not a long time. And so I want you to be able to get with women that are going to see you as a long time. So really hone in on what your style is going to be, how you're going to present yourself to the world. You know, on this show, back in the day, I was just wearing any old kind of t-shirt. And now I wear collared shirts. I wear these shirts specifically because it's like, it exudes a style. You guys can come in here and say, I know the style that Harry's going to have based on the feeling tone of the show. And because I want my show to have a certain feeling tone, that means being more stylistic, learning to pacing my speech a little bit better, knowing how to show up, knowing how to decorate my atmosphere. Like all these things that you're looking at are branding. But if you like this branding, you keep coming back to the show. If women like your branding, they will keep coming back to you. But you got to really tap into what that is. Now, if you get my book, Stop Losing Women book, one of the freebies that comes with that is an interview I did with this guy named Anthony Centeno. And he talks about how to tap into your personal style so you can evolve it while still feeling like yourself. It's a great audio that I've included free with the book. So that's just a little promo for the book. If you get that free audio. It's amazing. And I think Antonio Centeno also has a website you can go to sign up for his stuff. It's absolutely great. But anyway, so that's the deal with personal branding. When you're able to personally brand yourself, women will have a better idea of what they're going to get when they first see you across the room or when they have a first conversation with you. And that makes it easier for the right women to choose you early on versus the guy that knows nothing about himself or just haphazardly grabbing at whatever straws he can to do whatever to get any kind of woman. That's true. Let's see. The sixth thing that you need to do to market yourself better to women is to become a more effective communicator. And this is pertaining to emotional communication, in terms of verbal communication, in terms of understanding women, like when they say certain things, what they're actually meaning or what their actions mean when they move a certain way or look at you a certain way. The more you're able to really get the knowledge of what all these things are, then women are going to understand you're a better communicator. When I was doing online dating, I went on so many first dates where women were telling me that I was the first person they'd actually gone on a date with out on an online dating platform. And when I asked why, it would just be, the answer would be like, well, it just seemed like our conversation really flowed and you just kind of, were asking questions about me and made me feel a certain way. And these other guys just weren't doing that. And that's because I was a bad communicator at one point. And so I had to spend years studying female communication and dynamics and understanding ins and outs of, why it is that when you say certain things during a conversation, it causes them to feel one way, negative, or when you say things in this certain style or in this certain tone or bring up these certain topics, that it makes them feel more connected to you. And so that's the game. The game is literally learning what communication styles gel well with women and then learning how to do that. And here's the interesting part too, is that you don't have to speak in a feminine tone or a feminine way to have these conversations. Because again, as I said earlier, women want to feel that you're a masculine guy. So you can still ask them about things that as a female, they're going to want to talk about, but still do it in a masculine way. But if you don't know what those things are or what kind of emotions to tap into, again, from a masculine perspective, that are still going to make her feel like you're trying to connect with her and then allowing her to communicate with you in a feminine style and not judge her for it, then that's going to give you the results that ultimately you're looking for. And then that leads actually into the seventh way to better market yourself to women is to accept consumer feedback. Hey, you're going to go on some dates that don't work well. You're going to connect with some women that you date for a little bit and then they simply just ghost you or whatever. Or you might be with somebody in a long-term relationship and they're bringing things to your attention like, hey, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you do this and this and this thing, and it causes this thing to happen or it causes me to feel this kind of way. And guys, again, they hear that, they get in their ego and get all hurt. Dude, when women are giving you, if women legitimately like come up to you and say, hey, so when you did this thing, this is how I felt. Or say you go on dates with the woman and then after like 3 dates, she stops saying yes to your dates. And when you ask her why, she's like, I'm just not feeling a connection, or that thing you said on that date just really made me think about whatever, or you came across a certain way when you did this action. Rather than getting butthurt by that, take the feedback in. Say, you know what? I didn't know I was doing that. I didn't know I was showing up in this way. I wasn't aware I had this kind of habit. And then add that to things you now know and are aware of about yourself that you can improve. Being in our own little bubbles, guys, we are very much biased towards ourselves, meaning we think everything we're doing is great. Every single way we're showing up is fantastic. And anybody that would dare say something different needs to be judged and thrown stones at, because how dare they think that I need work? But if you're able to take that feedback and say, you know what, let me get out of my ego and see if there's some merit to this. Oh my God, there actually is. I can improve these things. Then you'll be better for the next girl and the next girl and the next girl. And eventually you'll get to a woman where it's like, you have so much stuff figured out that she's going to be like, man, this guy has like no issues. Like he talks to me well. He is able to emote with me and feel empathy for me. He doesn't laugh when I tell him about some silly girly thing. He's able to be there when I'm crying with him instead of making fun. And she doesn't realize that all the things that she likes about you are things that other women complain about that you are willing to fix. All right. So take the consumer feedback, see if it has merit. And I say that because I don't want you to like, you have an ex-girlfriend that was toxic and she's saying, oh, you show up this way, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it really is them. Sometimes the women are actually the problem, all right? But there's going to be some instances where you come across a great girl and you mess it up. If you can reach out and say, hey, I'm not trying to get you back. I just want to kind of know what ways can I show up better in my next relationship. And anytime I've been in a relationship that's ended, I've always tried to have the conversation of like, look, what can I do to improve or to be better? If I see that for sure it's not going to go any further than where it's at, I will say, hey, so just what can I be looking for the next time? And again, keep in mind at this point, they're my ex. I still take that with a grain of salt, but I'm willing to listen and hear what they're saying. And then again, I'll go back and say, okay, does this have merit? Is she saying this stuff because she's just angry with me? Or are these things that I legitimately need to fix about myself? And sometimes it is actually stuff I need to fix, you know? So that's just some food for thought, but that's how you can start marketing yourself better, because guys, ultimately, if you're going after women, if women is your market, then you always have to know what the consumer is after. And some of those things you might think initially, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a guy that has to, be calm all the time. Why can't I be angry? Or why do I have to, what if I don't want to express sexy stuff and blah, blah, blah. Dude, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But if you're looking at your market and you want to like up in the market, then you really want to start looking at, okay, so then what realistically are women wanting in these relationships and how can I show up better? And if you do that, you'll be eons ahead of other dudes and you'll actually start to get women and you will stop losing women. By the way, you can check out free sections from my ebook, Stop Losing Women, at the website, introvertdatingsuccess.com. So be sure to check that out.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high